Ewan Spence here for another All About Symbian video review. It's part 4 of my look at Nokia's E75, their enterprise device that is catching a lot of eyes, both with a very nice candy bar form factor and the slide-out QWERTY keyboard. Right then, what I'm going to look at in this video diary is the internet. Now, previous diary we had a look at the email client, so predominantly I want to look at the web browser in here. Now, the obvious thing, with a 320 by 240 screen, the E75 is not the most expansive of web browsers. In fact, there's very little difference between this browser and, say, the browser on the original Nokia N95. It's the Safari-based WebKit, Web Core. Again, Nokia giving me 3 different names and telling me which one to use in the day of the week for PR purposes. It's the one that's based on the Apple one, and it seems to be doing very well at rendering over all platforms. So really, the E75 doesn't add anything to the web browser. It is your standard S60 web browser. But the E75, of course, does have its own problems with the interface. We have a look at that. The cursor ring is very close, as we've said before, to these keys that are sitting at the side. And that's made doubly difficult when you open it up into the landscape format. If we bring up a web page, you find that when you're using it, your thumb sits there, and it just hits all the other keys around it very, very easily. You need a very fine, precise control of your thumb to hit the up, down, left and right. Even though the cursor ring is raised up, this is actually quite difficult. It makes me wish that Nokia had implemented something that Opera still have in their web browser, and that Nokia had on the original communicators, which of course later versions had the Opera web browser as their base, which was using the tab key to move between links. 2 things that I really miss on this web browser. The first one is there's no way to go from link to link to link. The old Opera browser, tab, 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 you'd shift between links. It was much faster. Your hand was already there because you were holding the machine. The second thing that's missing is page down. You have to use up and down on the cursor to move around the page. And because you have to move the cursor a little bit to get to the edge and then it moves, it's quite jumpy and stirry, and if you hold it down it scrolls down quite a bit, and then it scrolls faster, and then it scrolls faster with the pop-up window. It just isn't a nice UI. I just want page down, like spacebar, spacebar, spacebar. It doesn't do anything. Also, typing in URLs, great with a keyboard. I mean, that should be obvious, but let's not overlook it. Simple. It's really easy to type in a URL on the keyboard. There's a history list as well that comes up that allows you to move up to previously visited one. In this case, google.co.uk is coming up. And you go through your standard connection dialog, asking you to search for a LAN connection or your 3G internet connection. Loading times are okay. It's about what you'd expect for a device of this processor. It's a standard web browser. It does the job. It doesn't do it badly. It doesn't do it brilliantly, and it matches up with everything else. Key, of course, to any web browser is: does it get you the information you want? Yes. Does it present it to you in a nice way? Pretty much. Is it easy to navigate around the page? 6 out of 10. Other things on the internet, because it's not just the web browser. Even though I've been staying to only the built-in applications, just a quick note, the Twitter clients that are available now for S60, both Gravity and Twitix, are very good on E75, again because it has the keyboard. I think the only problem there is, when the keyboard comes out, because you're in landscape mode and all these Twitter clients are so column-based, it seems like there's a lot of wasted space and you're not seeing a lot of information compared to when you switch it into portrait mode. Of course, in portrait mode, you're stuck on the ABC keyboard. Fundamentally, there's no way around that, but it's very nice using Twitter clients on this, and anything that's requiring textual entry online is actually much improved on the E75 as opposed to, say, the N95. Which now leads somebody going, what are you recording this on? Answers on a postcard. Connectivity, though, there's a couple of icons that are nice on the screen. Let me just, I've got my notes at the side here. So, for example, there's an intranet icon. And I got to be honest here, I don't have my own personal intranet sitting on a server at home. I actually use a USB key, well, actually this is an iPod Shuffle, but you get the idea. Most of my files when I travel sit in the USB key. That's a bit of a problem because the USB port doesn't allow mass storage devices to add themselves in. But one of the other icons that is there does allow me to do that. Files on Ovi acts as a storage mechanism online, or allows a PC at home to act as a remote hard drive for your device. So it's possible to access online storage and your PC when you're out and about. There's a shortcut icon in there for files on Ovi. Hit that, away you go, download the files. Very nice, very well implemented. The other OV elements aren't so well represented on here. OV Sync, the E75, is still not listed as one of the compatible devices, even though tech heads like me can go in and pull out the actual sync settings and logins and use server addresses and everything. It would be nice to have it done automatically. Come on, Nokia, how long has this device been out for? How proud are you of OV? Why is it not yet there on OV Sync? To the normal user, they'll just go, it doesn't sync. End of story. OV Share, obviously for uploading pictures and video and new media. Great, very nice. To be honest, I just still email my pictures up to Flickr from the email client. Although most of the time I do tend to put it on the PC, so it's quicker to add in tags, subject lines, and little notes and everything. That's one of those indications, when, upload a picture, add in some more detail, add in some more detail, add in some more detail. I can't be bothered. So it's there, bang, squirt, edit it later. If I am going to do it, I'll use the mail client. Although OV Share will happily take Flickr uploads. Maps works well again, but when you switch into that 320 240 screen, you still have your information bars top and bottom. It kind of makes it look like you have less information. You don't. You've got the same amount of pixels left over, roughly. It works. Great. Okay, next, move on. OV Music, the Nokia Music Store. I'm going to talk about that in the next episode because we're going to talk about multimedia, music, radio, and such like as well. It's the final strand of OV Gaming, or Nokia N-Gage. They actually have N-Gage on the E75, and that is one of the weirdest design decisions of all, because this in no way is good for playing games on. I mean, it's bad enough trying to scroll around a web browser screen. I mean, imagine trying to do something like Resident Evil on here with this weird D-pad and rolly thing. It's just wrong! Ugh. But as an internet device, let's roll this all back up again. As a device for accessing stuff on the internet, the E75 is actually probably in the top half of phones. If you manage to list all the phones, the E75 would certainly be placed in the top half. It's relatively good for consuming content. The screen is, even though it's a small screen, very bright. Putting information, switching to the QWERTY keyboard to putting in your information means it's very easy to create textual pieces of content. We'll talk about graphical pieces of content media, as I said, in the next show. And of course, it's being S60, lots of expansion capabilities with third-party applications, and that's already been proved to be very successful. The only thing, excuse me, apart from my sore throat, that's three things. One thing about this, let's go back, is it's a right-handed phone. And you especially note that if I go into the web browser, right-handed people, not a problem. Left-handed people, either you've got to reach across, or you've got to go it right-handed. Use your left, it's over too quickly. Right-handers, not a problem with the phone. Left-handers might be feeling a bit left out. The honest answer is, short of having a dual slider going the other way, or having to decide a left-handed or right-handed model, I'm not sure how you get around that. Are you left-handed, and do you have an E75? If so, do let us know in the comments back on allaboutSymbian.com what you make of the device. Your comments over the entire video and thoughts are very much appreciated. Well, back in the same place. Be back with part 5 on as I said, on the multimedia capabilities of the E75. But for now, no special effects. Just going to wave goodbye.